I am not one to brag, but I have amassed a hefty collection of irrational fears over the years. Bees? Rice? Healthy romantic relationships? But there are some phobias in my repertoire that are far more reasonable. For example, one of my greatest fears is going blind. It affects every aspect of your life, and can render even the simplest of tasks into a terrible struggle. Not only could you never again gaze upon the wonders of Anya Taylor-Joy, or Pierce Brosnan's hair in The Lawnmower Man, but just imagine the sheer vulnerability that comes with losing your sight. In all seriousness, that is true horror. That inherent vulnerability exists at the heart of the 1967 film Wait Until Dark, the tale of a blind woman who is preyed upon by a group of thugs. For decades, people have debated whether Wait Until Dark falls under the horror banner, or whether it is simply a thriller or a suspenseful crime flick. There are points on all sides of the argument, but Wait Until Dark has regularly appeared on the lists of the scariest movie moments and what have you. Stephen King once called it the scariest movie ever made. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for us. '60s icon Audrey Hepburn purposefully plays against type as Suzy Hendrix, a recently blinded woman who is unwillingly, and unfairly, caught in the middle of a criminal plot. Through a chance encounter, a doll stuffed with heroin has come into the possession of her family. Oh dear, a real piece of work known as Mr. Rote, portrayed here by future Oscar winner Alan Arkin, will do anything to get that particular MacGuffin. He blackmails a couple of other criminals, including Richard Crenna, to assist him in this task. Their alliance is uneasy to say the least, but still they must work together to trick Suzy into revealing the location of the doll. Wait Until Dark is suspense incarnate. Long before we even get to the central storyline. Long before anything at all happens, really. The opening soundtrack and the anxious vibe from the characters alone put me on edge. The music was composed by Henry Mancini, but is a world away from his previous Audrey Hepburn work, Moon River. He deliberately made the pianists clash with each other. Reportedly, this made the musicians ill during recording, and that's when old Henry knew he could sleep easy that night. The tension only ratchets up and up from that opening theme. It's a film full of plans not going to plan. 95% of the film takes place in Suzy's small apartment. If you didn't know it was based on a play, it wouldn't take long at all to guess that it was. But it works in the film's favour. The singular setting allows for the suspense to continuously build upon itself without interruption, as the tension nags at us from both sides. On the one hand, you're completely empathizing with this poor woman, who is being manipulated without even knowing it, desperately hoping she'll hear enough alarm bells to get to safety. Then, on the other gloved hand, I also let myself get invested in the bad guy's scheme. Two of the three guys ain't so bad. They are criminals, sure, but Crenna exudes a softness towards Suzy, and the other guy's a bit of the heavy-set sidekick type. Neither of them really wanted to be there, but were themselves forced into the plan by the third man, who is as cruel and wicked as the next horror villain. Arkin's performance is practically perfect. He swaggers his way through carefully concocted lines and ploys, paving lightly over his underlying menace with his inscrutable charm. Make no mistake, this is a man who has no problem with bullying and torturing an innocent disabled victim, let alone when that victim is Audrey bloody Hepburn. In fact, so many of the first choices for the role turned it down, based on that particular issue. Arkin swooped in easily, and thank God he did. By the end of the film, he is a truly terrifying force. The suspense also maintains its crescendo via director Terrence Young, who was no stranger to exhilarating sequences, coming off of 3 early Bond films. Despite the minimal setting, Young works alongside the script to ensure location fatigue does not creep in, along with the 3 creepers. And, just like Bond's amazing battle with Red Grant, when the lights go out, the director knows how to handle a close-quarters, darkened fight scene. Indeed, the film's title rings true. Wait Until Dark. Wait for the climax in the dark, where the odds can tip in favour of the hero or the villain on a masterfully crafted whim. It also features one of my very favourite jump scares. Oh, just go on, Audrey, you're safe now. Audrey Hepburn herself deserves a shout-out. Not that we ever need an excuse to give her one. She's so friendly and innocent in this film, yet so surrounded by sinister intentions, you just can't help but get invested. There are times in the film where she really breaks my heart, and it's a shame this was her only horror film, as she handles the third act telematerial superbly. It's no shock to learn that she was Oscar nominated for the role, but was beaten at the 1968 ceremony by another Hepburn of the Kathleen variety. Here's another interesting tidbit. Audrey Hepburn worked as a nurse during World War II. Among the soldiers she helped bring back to health was none other than Terence Young himself. Small world, hey? Anyway, I have ranted long enough, whilst also trying not to spoil anything. Let me make it up to you with a more concise summary. Just go watch the bloody film.